Yes, people, I'm Srini and you are watching MTAC TV. Of course, I'm joined by my regulars in Adi and Ritvik in the building. And of course, I have two Chelsea fans in the building in Vinay and Amok. So, of course, it's the Champions League. It's Chelsea versus Real Madrid. Gas, honestly. We're so hyped for this one. It's the first semi-final. So, Adi, Real Madrid are the home team. Why don't you read their lineups?
Yeah, man, Madrid, very interesting lineup today. Thibaut Courtois and the sticks. They have Carvajal, Varane, and Militao all lining up together at the back. Nacho
Yeah.
and Marcelo as well. So I think it's either 5 at the back or 3-5-2. The standard goated midfield, Modric, Casemiro, and my darling Toni Kroos. And Benzema and Vinicius up top, 3-5-2 probably. Ritvik, you want to go for Chelsea?
Yeah, they're also playing the same formation with Mendy in goal. They have Azpilicueta and Chilwell on the wing backs with Christensen, Thiago Silva and Rudiger as centre backs. Kante and Jorginho in the mid and Mount, Werner and Pulisic up top. They remain unchanged from the West Ham game. So yeah, pretty much it.
So I'll go to the Chelsea fans first and foremost, of course. Samog, I'll go to you for this one. It's the same lineup as the West Ham game. They've lined up in a three at the back. It's a little conservative, but it's very, very Champions League. So what's your immediate reaction to the lineup?
My immediate reaction is we're here to seal the deal. In the sense, Tuchel has played a very, he's broken the record, right, for the most away wins in his reign so far in his first 10 games. So he's undefeated there. And I think this is the same tactic. Going to the, Di Stefano training ground, stadium, whatever. He's definitely going with an experienced squad, especially the back line. And we're just trying to at least get that crucial away goal and take it back to the bridge.
Fair enough. Vinay, what do you think? Are you as confident? Because Amok did say that you're here to seal the deal. What do you think about the lineup?
I mean, obviously, I'm confident, but if I'm being honest, I'm a little disappointed that Reece James is not starting because I feel I get the point that Amog was making about experience, but Reece James, he recovers really quickly and he's obviously fantastic going forward. So even if we're not able to find space through the middle, he can always create something for the wing. So I'm a little disappointed about that, but I trust Tuchel. So
fair point, Ritvik.
Yeah, don't you think that he's playing Azpilicueta because of the threat of Vinicius, who'll run in behind, and it's the first leg. It's in a way like they don't want to concede much. They want to get that goal on the counter. So probably just a conservative approach, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's where also Tuchel is coming from. But I've always felt it's always been my opinion that the away goal is the one that seals it. I've never liked the tactic of going there and just trying to seal out the draw. I always think an away goal is pretty much worth 2 goals. So I would have liked to see him go a little bit more attacking. But I understand the logic. But it's just my opinion.
Can I just add something quickly?
Yeah, go.
Looking at the lineups, I actually don't think that Vinicius is going to play out on the wing as he usually does. I think they might put him up in the 2 in a strike partnership with Benzema, out and out, which probably makes Azpilicueta's job much easier. So it wouldn't be that bad a shout to start him, considering he has the experience, obviously, in such a crucial away game. So I think that way it has worked out well for Tuchel. I'm not sure if he was trying to target the Vinicius side, but I think this could be a blessing in disguise in a way for Chelsea.
Fair point. Ritvik, I'll go to you for this one. We're talking about Real Madrid here. Adibir talked about how Vinicius and Benz could play in front too. What do you make of that lineup? Because once again, they're playing 3 at the back. This may be a super boring Champions League game, which I'm very scared about. But anyway, Ritvik, what's your thoughts on Real Madrid's approach?
Yeah, I don't quite understand this approach. I mean, if it works, it works. I just think he's probably a little scared of what Tuchel has done with Chelsea, Zidane, and he's also going with that conservative approach. Obviously, he's hampered with injuries. But again, this might work, this might not work because he is the master of Champions League, let's be honest. He's the best manager out there to manage his side in the Champions League game. And yeah, I mean, Vinicius and Benzema have been fire this season. Why not? If Chelsea are playing the same way, why not counter them with the same formation?
I mean, yeah, that's a fair point right there, and I don't agree with the fact that he's scared of Tuchel because Zidane has no reason to be scared of anyone. I mean, that guy is on absolute smoke when it comes to the Champions League. I mean, he really cleans it up there. I just think he's gone for a different approach, and Zidane is a very underrated tactician in my opinion. I feel that people just think Zidane is vibes and just putting any team out there, which is not true. I don't know why people think that. Sure, people fanboy about Zidane because he is Zinedine Zidane, but he's also a fantastic manager. I mean, he's winning Champions Leagues like it's nobody's business. So he's obviously got a certain idea about things. And as Adi said, I think that the fact that he's playing Marcelo is something that tells me that Vinicius will play further up forward. Like he'll play more centrally because obviously you can't have both of them on that left flank. So yeah, I think it's a pretty interesting tactic, and it's also all right to be a little conservative. They have enough firepower to cause Chelsea problems, so why not? But there's a comment from Gaurav Pratap Singh that I want to take, and I'll go to Adi for this one. He says, tactically, Zidane mimicking the 3 or 5 at the back from Tuchel. Managers usually do that when they feel that they have better players in each position than the opposition. So a bold move from Zidane. So Ritvik was saying something that was quite the opposite of this. Adi, what's your take on this?
I'm not sure whether it's trying to show that he has better players. I think he's being a bit wary. Chelsea, they're a pretty good side. They don't get as much credit as they probably deserve. With the likes of Mason Mount who can make something happen from nothing. I think he's kept that in mind, and you're playing with 5 defenders. So he's not going gung ho attacking football. By starting maybe in Asensio or someone else. So I think he's being oddly at home. He's being very precautious, which I wouldn't have expected from the Zidane side. But I think Chelsea can maybe do some damage against the 3-5-2. I don't agree with this lineup going. I don't know why he's put this out there. But again, I'm not Zidane. He won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. So clearly knows what he's doing. You want to add something?
Yeah, maybe just because Marcelo's playing and he doesn't want that, he's not very good defensively. Of course, he's aged. So probably he wants that extra cover in the defense. And to counter that, maybe Azpilicueta is also playing just because he knew that Mendy's going to be injured and Marcelo's going to start. So just to counter that, I mean, that was my take.
Before I go to, I just want to take a Moog's point. Right before that, I just want to add quickly that I think if Mendy was fit today, Madrid wouldn't have played a 5. They would have played their standard 4 at the back.
Yeah.
Because he's a huge miss. Don't get me wrong. And I think that's again another point where Madrid could potentially lose it. Moog, your point you were saying.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that having Carvajal at the back, playing as a right back or right wing back is definitely a major boost for Madrid. We saw in the Liverpool game that Valverde was playing right back, and then Alvaro Odriozola came on. So that's definitely a good addition, and obviously with that experience at the back, he's definitely thinking about making sure that the pacey left side of, let's say, Werner or Pulisic, that threat probably would be contained by Dani Carvajal.
Fair point. Vinay, I want to go to you for this one. We've talked about things like tactics, and I mean, let's be honest, they have set up to make sure that we get super bored. But anyway, moving on from that, if you had to pick a key player for Chelsea who you think has to perform on the night, considering Real Madrid are so seasoned in this competition, who would you pick?
I'm gonna go with the obvious one, probably Mason Mount. And I have besides the obvious reasons, I have a specific reason for this game is I don't think Real Madrid would be that used to playing with 5 at the back with 3 centre backs, and when you're playing with 5 defenders or 3 defenders, however you want to look at it, the positional play becomes really important for the defenders. And Mason Mount has that ability to, he switches flanks, he finds space between the lines, he finds these little gaps for himself through his turns and his positioning.
Yeah.
And I feel that that's a real position that we can exploit today, because especially when you're playing 5 at the back, it becomes really important for these players who sort of play between the lines or sort of moves around a lot. I think Pulisic is really good at that as well. But Mount obviously is absolutely on fire, and he's the master of that. I mean, he's just fantastic. It's not so obvious why he's such a great player, but he's just great. So I just love him. So I think, I would have to go with Mason Mount, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I just love him. Is fantastic analysis from you, when I totally agree with that. I just love him as well. He's a brilliant player. But Adi, I want to ask you, why is Toni Kroos the most important player on the pitch and on the planet? Because you are a massive stan, as you've mentioned before. So why not kick us off? Because there's no point asking you who the most important player is. It is Toni Kroos to you. So go on, go for it.
Toni Kroos, for as many awards as he's won, individual and team, he is still slept on. Just watch this guy today dictating the play. What a world-class player, man. I mean, if Madrid are, let's say, winning, if they take the lead today, notice how they slow the tempo down completely, and that is all thanks to Toni Kroos. keep an eye out for him, and you will thank me later. For football purists, he's a joy to watch. He is a
Yeah.
Xavi 2.0, if not better. I'm just joking, but yeah, he's there. Ritvik, you want to add something?
I wanted to know that what do you think Kante can do to counter that Madrid midfield? Because Toni Kroos has dominated every team he's faced mostly. Very rarely does he have a bad game. He makes something out of nothing, and powerhouse like Kante is required to track him down. But do you see that happening? Do you see any chance for Chelsea? Do you see Kante do something extraordinary?
So
Yeah.
I think that Kante is gonna keep Modric in his pocket. I think I don't know. I have
This
this
guy.
feeling that the midfield is going to be blocked today, and I think what we saw with Toni Kroos in the first leg against Liverpool, he's probably going to try to deliver that long ball. And with that kept in mind, I have a good feeling that with Christensen's technicality, with Thiago Silva, at the heart of our defense, we will make sure that Vinicius will not come, around our defenders and cut in. And I also feel that the challenge will be for Militao today because he has a lot of pace, up against him today. And like I know you had asked Vinay what his who his key player was, but I think today Christian Pulisic is going to make the difference for Chelsea. I think that even though Real Madrid is a La Liga side, you know he can really play in between really well, and his dribbling will show you why he's a good replacement for Eden Hazard. Not trying to make any comparisons. They're two different players. They have their own styles of play, but he was bought for a reason, and I think he'll do justice to that role, tonight.
Yeah, fair
Fair
enough.
point.
Speaking of Eden Hazard, Vinay, what do you think? Do you think he's going to come on? Are you happy he's on the bench, or do you want to see him one last time against your team?
It's bittersweet. Obviously, I don't want him to do well, but I mean he's a legend, and I feel really sorry for him after everything that's happened after going to Real Madrid. So I would like to see him come on, and if he does bag a goal or an assist or plays well, I would of course feel bad. Like I said, it's bittersweet, but just he is just an absolute pleasure to watch. I mean, if you take away allegiances for a second, he's like watching water flow almost when he's carrying the ball and when he's in his stride. So as a football fan, I would love to see him on definitely.
Totally agree.
Uh,
Agree with that. There's a comment from Gaurav that I want to address. Gaurav says, "Don't sleep on Jorginho, the most key player for Chelsea FC. When he does his job in midfield, Chelsea FC. I've got to stop saying FC. Chelsea are a different beast. Same for Casemiro at Real Madrid. I don't quite agree with that, but anyway, remember how well Jorginho played versus City in the FA Cup. He was excellent, to be fair. Adi, you wanted to raise a point?
Yeah, just quickly touching on a Moog's point, and it works pretty well with this as well. Jorginho, I think, is absolutely key for Chelsea. He's been sublime this season. Very similar sort of player to Toni Kroos in a way, where he's a regista, dictates the play, doesn't play over the top passes. Toni Kroos does sometimes, but he can slow the tempo down. Just touching on a Moog's point that if let's say Kroos is taken out of the game, Kante, Madrid have the quality of Modric and Casemiro. So I think Gaurav's also mentioned Casemiro here. Casemiro is, this season, I think he's been Madrid's second or third top scorer, which is a huge surprise to everyone. We have no idea how he's done that, but he's not just a midfielder. He's not just there to win the ball and give it back. He does bits for that Madrid team. So, that I think that midfield department is probably one of the key battles today. And yeah, Vinay, do you want to touch on Jorginho for a bit?
Actually, but slightly negative perspective. That going back to my earlier point about Mount, like Real Madrid sort of whatever I've seen of Real Madrid, especially in the Champions League, don't follow the La Liga so much, but in the Champions League, their games are won by the balance of their midfield. They've got a great balance in midfield, and we're only going with the two out and out centre midfielder. So I feel it becomes even more important for Mount because, as much as I hate to say it, we've seen over the past few years, Jorginho has the his weakness is that he can get overrun in midfield, and when he starts to fall out of the game, it really becomes he doesn't get any touches. His passes go astray whenever he gets a chance. So I feel it becomes even more important for Mount to sort of join the midfield when we don't have the ball and make it a three in midfield to counter Real Madrid's unbelievable, once in a lifetime midfield. Honestly, what a midfield! So, yeah, but
Yeah, just touching up on your point about Jorginho, right? I think with him, it's more like, if he's playing really well, the game goes well, and if he's not, then the team is
Yeah.
just going to suffer. It's like it's a very big trade off, I'd say. With Jorginho, I see he's much more comfortable with Kovacic simply because if he's put on pressure, Kovacic can at least run from the defensive line or from the back, and he can bring up the play. With Kante, because he's one of the best. Defensive midfielders in the world, he tends to sit back a bit. But we've obviously seen him in the Sarri era, and now, in Tuchel's era, that he comes up. But yeah, I mean, you see a more of a defensively minded midfield, even though Jorginho plays the long balls and he does connect play. But yeah, if he gets overrun, then it's just a bad performance, like overall from the team. You can see that his effect really tells you what maybe the key substitutions will happen, like in the second half, who they'll bring on, because you would see possibly Havertz coming in, maybe pushing up higher. You would probably see Reece James also adding to the flank. So again, there's a little bit of a positional change that happens whenever Jorginho is either performing well or performing really bad.
Speaking of Chelsea's midfield, Jorginho obviously has been the key. But alongside him, I know Shri, you're a Kovacic fanatic. Do you think they're going to miss him on this game, or do you think he's done good with Kante starting and that defensive mindset?
I am a Kovacic fanatic. I am blushing. You can look at my face, but yeah, I think he's just incredible. I think he's super balanced. That's my favorite thing about Kovacic. He can put a tackle in, but he can absolutely dribble past 3, 4, 5 players, which is why he's so excellent for me. And I think the midfield battle is where Chelsea will lose this game for me. I think that midfield is not composed of three great players. That midfield is composed of three absolute legends of the game, honestly. And while Jorginho could have a good game, as Vinay said, you cannot put your house on him to have one. And he could very well get overrun in that midfield. We're talking about N'Golo Kante. Once again, if N'Golo Kante has an amazing game, that's brilliant. If he doesn't, they have Casemiro to counter him. So, and they have Toni Kroos as well to deal with. I mean, I'm getting stressed, so Chelsea certainly will. So missing someone like Kovacic is going to be a massive problem there, just because numerically it's a problem. Apart from the fact that Jorginho just doesn't put the work in that a Kovacic or a Kante can, especially a Kante, and that's where I just feel that it's kind of impossible for forget Kovacic as well. I think just in the midfield in general, I think Chelsea can't compete with Real Madrid. Not many teams can at all. So that's my personal take. So I'd love to see Kovacic play, but yeah, midfield wise, there's no battle. So yeah, that's
And
my
Kovacic is, he's injured, so unfortunately he can't play
yeah,
tonight.
exactly.
But see, I think like what Vinay had also pointed out, in the West Ham game, we saw like a man of the match performance from Mason Mount. He was running everywhere. He had, dribbles completed. He had like one of the highest pass accuracies in that game. So when there's a link up between Jorginho and Mount, you usually see at least some resilience, and we were able to, contain West Ham. And I think that was a very solid performance by West Ham. Like I haven't seen West Ham get frustrated that, high up the field. Even though
Yeah.
they're attacking really high, you don't, if they're not making plays, then it's worthless. And with Real Madrid, we know that they have the pacey players. They've got technically complete players. So seeing that midfield battle is definitely enticing for tonight. What are
I
your
mean,
thoughts on that, Adi?
Amog, let me tell you something, by the way, before
Okay.
we go to Adi. I think you're going to be punching the air today when you see Kroos, Modric, and Casemiro do what they do to your midfield. I'm being honest. Unless N'Golo Kante has an N'Golo Kante game, you guys are finished out here. And Adi, actually, I have a question to ask you. And if it's the same question, Amog, then I guess we're on the same page. But Anant has raised a comment, which is counter attacks will decide the game. What do you guys think? Adi, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't think so, actually, and I'll tell you why. Because if either one of the sides were lining up with four at the back, I would have said yes, counterattacks might decide the game. But both sides have 5 defenders essentially in each team, which is absurd. I mean, there's no real scope for counterattacking, and even if there was, I'm sure out of the 5, you'll have at least 2 defenders in position if you're a defensively good side. Chelsea, testament to them, they've been especially since Tuchel come in, they've been one of the best, if not the best defensive side in world football. So I don't think they're going to be leaking goals at all today. Don't point at City. You say that for
It's
tomorrow.
facts, man. It's true.
These
It's true.
guys,
Come on,
man.
man. It's true. It's
These
true.
guys. But yeah, basically, I don't think it's going to be the counter-attacking thing. It's looking like a one-goal type of game, and I think it's going to be a snooze fest. But Vinay, I want to come to you quickly. Where do you think this game is going to be won, and is it a counter-attacking type of game? Yes or no?
Yeah, I'm going to go with yes. I think so. I've seen too much of Chelsea, and the way Real Madrid are set up, especially with the two strikers, they're going to look for space behind. They're going to look for space between the channels. So I think it's sort of going to be back and forth like that. But in fairness, I think when the other team sits back, Chelsea's centre backs are really good on the ball. I don't think it's appreciated enough. Chelsea's centre backs are really good at carrying the ball out. So I think if Real Madrid do sit back, which I don't think will happen, I think the 5 defenders is just on paper. But if they were to sit back a little bit, I could see Chelsea trying to take the game at the scruff of its neck and create these little moments with Christensen and Thiago and Rudiger sort of pushing up with the ball a little bit.
Yeah, so I had
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, so I had a question for everyone, and maybe I'll ask Ritvik first. But do you think the game today will be about who dominates possession?
I am not sure about that. See, I think both teams like to dominate possession, of course, but I don't think the game is going to be won because of possession. Just because any team can score at any moment because they have that. Both of them have the legs in the front 3, front 2, whatever, to run in behind and score those goals. Anyone can score at any moment. And I just think it's going to be a bit cagey of a game. And it's going to require something special out of either the midfield of Madrid or one of the, front 3 of Chelsea. Maybe a Mount Masterclass or something. See?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that it's going to be a very cagey game, which is why I don't think it'll be a game that's based on who does better on the break. I think it's a game that's sort of based on who's more patient and who doesn't get exposed quicker. Which sounds very obvious, but I think it's a chess match for sure. You can tell that from the way the teams have lined up. It's going to be very conservative. It's going to be a snooze fest for a good 20-25 minutes. And, whichever team goes for the kill and tries to be gung-ho is the team that's going to leave spaces and going to leave space for the likes of either a Christian Pulisic or a Vinicius Jr. And I think that's going to decide the game. And when that's done, then the other team obviously has to go for the attack, and when that happens, obviously one of the teams will score. And I think that's going to happen with Real Madrid doing the business and Toni Kroos doing what Toni Kroos does. But Adi, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, excellent question from Amog, and I think the team that does dominate is going to get, I think, the better result. And I'll tell you why. Because in the quarterfinal, Liverpool-Madrid, when Liverpool went away, Madrid at home they played unbelievable football. Pressing aside like Liverpool, who are they are known for their gegenpress, they not only dominated the ball, they pressed the ball from the front, which was very unlike Madrid in a way. So for them at home, I think they will completely dominate the ball. They can play any team off the park. They did it to Barcelona, and they did it to Liverpool 4 days before that. So I think that's where it's going to be won again. And Madrid, you wouldn't really expect them to just give loose balls away and play those fancy Hollywood passes. They know how to get a job done, essentially. Vinay, coming to you.
I want to ask a question to the group. What everyone thinks of Timo Werner, given in this particular game. Obviously, generally everyone has an opinion, but what I've seen of Timo is that he only is effective when the opposing team leaves space in behind. That's the only time he appears effective. Otherwise, his touch is off, his finishing is off. So I worry a little bit, especially since all of us are fairly convinced that Madrid might sit back a little bit. So I don't know where Timo is going to find the space to work his, magic, so to speak. So I was wondering what you guys think about.
Yeah, I'll take this one. Again, like everyone that's watched the Premier League and that has 2 eyes, I mean, Timo Werner has been pretty poor, let's be honest. And as you said, when Chelsea gets space, Timo Werner finds that space on that left-hand channel like he did against City, and he exploited us, fair enough. And I think that tactic worked very well in tandem with sort of Ziyech playing a false 9 role. But because he's not doing that, I feel the onus is on Werner to operate in that role, and that's where he just does not thrive. I mean, apart from the finishing, I always feel that Timo Werner is always crowded by a good 3-4 defenders, and it's almost like he won't score a goal in 200 years. And that's what's going to happen when you face such a seasoned side as well. So I think this is exactly the opposite kind of game where a Timo Werner would thrive. Just because Timo Werner, as you said, thrives on two things: his the amount of space he gets, and of course the pace that he has. And I don't think he'll be able to use that unless Real Madrid expose themselves, as I said, and leave space behind. So I think Timo Werner is going to be a little useless in this game, I'll be honest, because the things that he relies on won't work tonight for me. Ritvik, what's your take?
Yeah, whatever you said, just adding to that, this is a game where Chelsea needs one goal, and they're in the second time. They need that one away goal, and I don't think Timo Werner is the guy for that. I
Not at all.
seriously can't see that happening. He's missed so many chances, even against West Ham. After he scored that goal, he made such a sitter, dude. Hilarious sometimes.
Man.
And he can't afford to do that today. He just cannot. If he misses that, they're out of the tie. And I just think a better, even if no striker was playing, that would be better than Timo Werner playing. I
Oh,
feel.
that's harsh.
I have a question for Adi actually. Adi, so obviously Timo Werner has been playing dodgeball since he's come to Chelsea. But what I want to ask you is, would you, in this sort of a game, who would you pick as your false nine? Would you go for a Timo type of option, someone who's very mobile, or would you go for an Olivier Giroud who's done it in the Champions League, who's strong, who can bully defenders? What's your go-to? And hi,
Um,
Amog, welcome back. We tried to avoid the fact that you went out, but you're back. So yeah, technical difficulties there, guys. But anyway, Adi, what's your take?
yeah, very good question again. Honestly, now that you mentioned it, I think I would probably go for Giroud. Purely again, experience. He's done it for years. And we've seen him in the Champions League even this year. He's really, risen up when he's been called upon. Timo Werner, on the other hand, just adding to what you guys said, it's unbelievable how much confidence he lacks in front of goal. You'll see instances where he's clean through. You'd expect a striker of his quality that we've seen him do for Leipzig for 2 years. He doesn't even take the shot. He starts playing the pass, which just shows you that this guy he's feeling the effects of the media, the journalists, the fans, that they're on his back. Honestly, I'm a huge Timo Werner fan, as well as the rest of the front three. And I think I remember I said this to Vinay before the chat as well, that this is one of my favorite front threes in the world. But if Timo Werner is not firing, I really don't expect the others to fall in line. So if he picks up his form, hopefully he does, maybe next season, that's when Chelsea really come good. But I don't see him doing any damage whatsoever, especially with five at the back of Madrid, where he won't have that space to run in behind as he plays. So yeah.
Totally agreed, and we hope that Timo Werner finally starts playing football, because the sport he's playing, it just is not working for him. But Amog, I'll go to you for this one. We've talked about Timo Werner, we've talked about Oli G, but I think your best striker is Tammy Abraham by a country mile, honestly. And he just does not get any opportunities. He barely makes the bench. He was your top scorer only recently. So would you have started someone like this in the game? Because I think Tammy Abraham provides a good balance. So what's your take on that?
So I guess this is a continuation with the Timo Werner thing and the Tammy thing. So I'll give you my opinion. My opinion is that, you know, playing an out and out striker in this game seems a little bit of a I think it's just not right for this game, I'd say. Because like, I think Eder Militao had a masterclass against Liverpool at Anfield. Okay, he was just able to completely stop the attack. And playing Firmino or even Jota up top, it just wasn't working. It was frustrating the Liverpool attack. So I think not playing an out-and-out striker was a good idea. And I think that with Timo Werner's flexibility of moving on the left and providing those key passes, yeah, I mean, that's some confidence if he's not able to shoot on goal. So, if and, people say that his, season has been quite bad, but let me tell you, he's had a lot of goal and assist contributions this season. So, I still prefer that he should bring his numbers up, but it's still a decent season for him. The Chelsea number 9 role is somehow cursed, but Tammy Abraham is our number 9, and he's actually had a stellar season this year, and he's shown it last year and even on his loan spells. So, I mean, yeah, I would definitely love to see Tuchel take a chance on Tammy, because I feel like he's low on confidence at the moment because he's not getting even into the in the squad for these lineups for the games. So, it would definitely be better if gets the.
I think we lost Amok there, and we've kind of lost Liverpool this season as well because Kabir with an A1 comment right there who says, "Who doesn't have a masterclass at Anfield these days?" No offense, Militao, man, that cracked me up. I don't even care if it's out of context. I have to talk about that. But yeah, anyway, guys, just a quick question that I have for Adi. Right, we've talked about Timo Werner. We've talked about how Chelsea barely have a number 9, but on the other side, Real Madrid have Karim Benzema, who is arguably one of this generation's best strikers. Hello, Amog. I know you're back. But anyway, we've moved on. Time moves on. So, Adi, what's your take on Kareem Benzema? How do you think he'll impact the game? Because that guy is next level.
It's good that you've highlighted Karim Benzema. Can you highlight Gaurav's comment over here? I really like that. He says, "Please don't ignore that as Chelsea and Real Madrid play their first ever UCL tie. I did not know that against each other. The F1 and the go kart finally meet on the pitch.
Oh, right.
And I'll talk to that in a second. And I want all of you to tell me who is the F1 car. This is, again, if for people who don't know this, Benzema said that he is the F1 car and the go-kart is Olivier Giroud, but Giroud is the one with the World Cup medal mate. So, yeah. Srini, I could be lost. What was your question again?
What I'm asking you is, how do you think Karim Benzema is going to affect this game, man? Because he's an absolute baller.
Oh, Benzema is the outlet man. I mean, I saw a stat yesterday. I think since Ronaldo's left Madrid, non-penalty goals, Ronaldo has 69 and Benzema has 75. That just goes to show you how lethal this guy is. Absolutely slept on striker. Underrated again, not as underrated as Giroud, but Benzema is the only outlet for Madrid. You can't depend on Vinicius. He's been absolutely, I can't use the word, but he's been pretty bang average this season. Good in the Champions League last 2 games, but that makes no difference. I still want my F1 question answered. I want to go to Amok for this. I saw him raising his hand.
Yeah, so with the reference to that, I mean, Oli Giroud has a World Cup and one doesn't. And, in my opinion, Olivier Giroud is underrated in the Premier League. I think he is the classiest and the most ideal Premier League striker right now. At least as a veteran and experienced, striker out there, he's definitely, he has to be shown more worth, I think, in the squad. And unfortunately, we saw him play a couple of games in the beginning of, the Tuchel era at the end of Jan and early Feb. But, after that, we've seen him not, play a lot, under Tuchel. And he definitely steps up in the European nights. I mean, we know that he's been leading, the Champions League scoring in the group stages. But, I mean, if, let's say, the Werner, who plays on the left side, that doesn't work, and we're not playing an out-and-out striker, then make a good substitution, bring on Giroud, and let's see, we can test that defense.
Well, guys, I have a question. I have a question for you, Sri, actually. So Chelsea's bench is on paper way stronger than Madrid's bench. Do you see someone coming on and doing the thing, making the impact, or
are you asking me for Chelsea or are you asking me for Real Madrid?
See, I don't think Real Madrid has a good bench. I just think they just have Rodrigo and Hazard. Apart from that, they don't have, and Hazard has a good back. So I'm just asking about benches, man.
I only have to go for one man because we haven't mentioned him. It's been 33 minutes on the clock and we just have not mentioned him. It's Eden Hazard. I know Eden Hazard's not been fit. I know you guys can make your jokes about how he sneaks in cookies at 12 a.m. Everyone does that. It's lockdown. Let him have it. But I would love to see Eden Hazard go absolutely mental. Eden Hazard is one of the best wingers of all time in the Premier League. I don't even care what your question is. And I want to see these two absolutely cry tonight when they see their former love of their life do what he did to Arsenal in Baku. So I would love to see Eden Hazard do absolute bits. So that's my take. Adi, what do you think?
I just want to ask Vinay a question. Looking at Chelsea's bench, who do you think are the players that, if they come on, can make the impact if things are not going to plan?
I was thinking about this actually. I think when Amog was making the point about how for this particular game it makes sense not to go with an out-and-out number 9. In that context, while Timo Werner lacks in technical abilities, he has that explosive pace and that ability to exploit space. The sort of opposite of that is Kai Havertz. And I feel if Werner's not working out, Havertz has amazing on the ball. His ball control is great. He stitches up the play really well. So if the attack looks a little disjointed, which it sometimes tends to when Timo Werner is spearheading, I think Havertz is a great option for a false number 9 because he can drop in and connect the midfield in the attack. He drops in, he pushes up, he finds little spaces between the midfield and the defense. So I would have to go with Havertz. Yeah, I think he can make a really, really big difference.
Fair point, fair point. And Amol, actually, I have a similar question to you because when I mentioned Kai Havertz, who's kind of thriving in that false nine role. And speaking of people that are thriving in that role, I mentioned Hakim Ziyech and how well he did against City. Are you surprised that Ziyech is not starting this game because Werner and Ziyech linked up super well in that game? So, what's your take on that, quickly?
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised. Hakim Ziyech is a wizard, so he knows how to deliver the best balls, you could say, right? In between the midfield and the defense. So yeah, I mean, I think with him on the bench, we lack a little bit of creativity.
Yeah.
Maybe going up, but I mean, if Mount is going to carry this team, I fully support that, at least up top. Because, but I agree with Vinay's point. I think if Kai Havertz maybe gets subbed on sometime during this match, there is, a good link up play, I think, moving from defense, from the, Madrid midfield to the defense and going through. But I also see like someone like Callum Hudson-Odoi come on maybe for, let's say,
That's
for
my guy.
Azpilicueta. It would be definitely a little bit of a risky change because we're playing away, but that pace would definitely maybe confuse Madrid, especially someone like Nacho who's playing, I guess, left of the back three. So I'd like to see that.
Maybe in the second leg. Maybe in the second leg, I think Hudson-Odoi would feature more. Yeah.
Yeah, Adi, you want to add something?
Yeah, just two really quick points. Great shout on Hudson-Odoi, by the way. I think under Lampard, he did really well. I think under Tuchel, he hasn't really got as much time. So if he was in that form, I would have definitely, if not started him, probably the first guy to bring off the bench. But I just want to give a quick shout out to Mason Mount. I know we've touched upon him before, but I really feel like if Mason Mount has a great game, Chelsea will have a great game. When the season started, Mason Mount was like a nothing, no one to me, and this guy has absolutely shut me up and how, like, absolutely phenomenal player. What a baller! And yeah, credit where it's due, basically. And that's
Amog, you know as well as I do that I've been on the Mason Mount brigade from ages. Like Mason Mount is an outstanding young player, guys. If you're not on the hype train, you should join because that kid is absolutely special, and he should start the Euros. That's my personal take. Unless a certain Lionel Foden starts, but it is what it is. But boys, let's predict the game. We've done all that, where the game will be won and lost and all of that. But whatever we say will probably not happen because you know how predictions work. But we'll do them anyway. So Ritvik, I'll go to you first. What is your prediction and who are your scorers?
I'm gonna go for a 2-0 Madrid win with Benzema on the score sheet and a surprise shout out to Marcelo on the score sheet.
Okay, fair enough. Adi, same question to you.
I think I'm going to go for a 1-0. It's looking like a 1-0 for me. 1-0 Madrid. Probably Benzema to score, but more importantly, Toni Kroos to get the assist. So watch out for that.
Oh, this guy. Vinay, what's the score to you? I'm just trying to ignore all this Toni Kroos propaganda. Vinay, what's your take?
I am going to go with a 1-0 win to Chelsea. And I think after a fairly dull first 35-40 minutes, I think a little bit before halftime, I see Mason Mount finding a little bit of space for himself and scoring one and us shutting up shop for the rest of the game.
Fair play. Amog, what's your take, man?
I think it's going to be a 1-0 game. I think Benzema is going to find the gap. And I think since we're hyping him up, he's definitely our player of the season. Mason Mount should get that goal, that valuable away goal, I think.
Fair enough. I mean, my gut tells me it's going to be a 3-1, but then the formations tell me it won't. So I'm going for a safe 2-1 Real Madrid win. I think Benzema is going to score a brace, and I think Pulisic will surprisingly score a goal. And Chelsea will threaten, but Real Madrid are Real Madrid, so there it is. Gaurav Pratap Singh also giving his prediction. He says 0-0 full time. Please, Gaurav, let's hope that does not happen because I'm sleeping off at halftime. I'm not having that at all. But anyway, I'll take a couple of the comments from everyone. Thank you so much for commenting, guys. We really appreciate it, especially the F1 car and the go-kart comment. That is some elite stuff. I'll be honest, I thought that was an F1 reference. I'm an idiot. But anyway, Vishal Joshua with a quick comment saying, we mentioned this before. I'd say Tammy shows a lot of confidence, just not a lot of ball control. Lol. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he has the Lukaku-esque touch, but he's a fantastic player. Shivam Pathak, quick prediction as well. 2-0 Real Madrid. Yeah, you know what? I want to go for something like that. Real Madrid are defo winning for me. You know, Ronaldo 123 rocks, an absolute goat in the comments. This guy's a legend. He says, "Hey friends, hey Ronaldo 123 rocks. We like you as well." And hey friends. Kabir Ali with a more tactical comment, if you will. He says Jorginho makes sense as he gives a little more insurance than a Kovacic while Kante presses Kroos. Well, if Jorginho plays like he played against City, then he surely does because he was next level in that game. I'll give it to you guys. But anyway, man, of course, Shivam with the most important comment of the stream. He says, like the video. Yes, like the video. It's on screen. Like the video right now. Like it 100 times. Make like 50 burner accounts. Do all of that. But anyway, we've given our predictions, guys. Of course, you can keep commenting with your quick predictions. But thank you so much for watching us on MTAC TV. If you're watching right now, you should be subscribing. You should be liking the video. You should be following us on IG, on Twitter, on Facebook, even though that's dead. And all of that, all of that, all of that. We hope it's a fantastic UCL night. Amok showing his badge, and I hope his team loses because, well, why not? There's beef in the Premier League, isn't it? And anyway, we move.